For your health, as more people are getting the COVID-19 vaccine, many of them will be traveling. Analysts say more than 37 million Americans are expected to be traveling this Memorial Day weekend. We've been reporting on packed planes for the first time since the pandemic began. So our health expert, Karen Owak, is here to remind us of some very important air safety precautions. And Karen, these tips go far beyond just wearing a mask.
Right. And because we've been so focused on the mask, I thought it would be a good time to kind of remind everybody about some of the other things that we should wear and not wear while we're on the plane.
Yeah, it sounds good.
So number one, before we even get into that, we need to focus on getting in shape. Because if in an emergency that something happened, that you will most likely have to get down on the floor and crawl if there's any smoke in the plane. I know a lot of people have difficulty with that. So if you're planning a trip, this would be a good time to start working on it, and it'd be a good motivator to start being able to get down and crawl.
Maybe get going with a little stretching and some yoga to become more flexible, Karen.
Yes.
Also, it really comes down to the materials that we wear as well, doesn't it?
Yes, so we don't want to wear anything synthetic, you know, like the rayon, the nylon, the polyester. Those are the things that will melt. It doesn't have to be on fire, but it could just be close enough to any heat source, and it will melt, and it will melt on your flesh, and then you'll get a critical burn. So you want to stick with fabrics that are natural, you know, the cotton, the wool, leather, those type of things.
So make sure you read the label before you get on the plane. And of course, you know, we don't want to scare anybody. We're talking about worst case scenarios here, but at the same time, we do want to let people know there are some clothes that would be more helpful to wear on board as opposed to others.
Right, and jeans, those are perfect because they're cotton, they're heavy, any kind of extra protection, you know. So think about cotton from head to toe, or leather, and even your socks. So you know, if you have a choice, go with the better choice.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, another thing is, as we head into the summertime here on this Memorial Day weekend, a lot of folks traditionally would wear short skirts, cutoffs, flip-flops on board the plane if they're heading to some place like Hawaii, Southern California, maybe Florida. Not a great idea, is it?
No, because if something does happen, you have no protection. Your skin is totally exposed. And you want to wear shoes. I mean, I'd love to wear flip-flops, but it's better to wear closed shoes, so in case something happens. And no heels, because in the event you need to go down the evacuation chute, you don't want to puncture it with your heels. So definitely something comfortable and something closed. And make sure, think about long sleeves, long pants, and even a scarf to cover your face.
This is one time, heaven forbid, should there be a fire on board a plane, this is one time where an N97 mask would really help out, wouldn't it?
Yes, just the regular mask won't, but the N95 will actually protect you from some of those particulates. So think about that instead of just your ordinary mask.
One thing that you also like to see on passengers on board a plane is layering of clothing. Explain why that is helpful.
Well, that's a really good idea, because if in the event something catches fire, you have layers of protection. The more layers you have, the more your skin is protected. And you know what? It is kind of chilly on planes. Yeah. So, you know, having those extra layers is good for that too. But yeah, think layers: t-shirt, long shirt, and then jacket.
And to reiterate what you said earlier, also think not only layers, but think about 100% cotton, wool, something that's a natural fiber.
Right. Something, you know, those fabrics are still flammable, but they're not going to melt like the synthetics are.
One thing to get away from clothing, but is just as important, is a medical ID tag or bracelet.
Right. So if you have any kind of medical condition, it's a good idea to wear a medical ID. And if you're in some type of emergency situation, oftentimes that triggers maybe an asthma attack or a heart attack. So you want to have that information on you, not someplace that in your bag, because you probably won't have your bag with you if you're evacuating.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you know, nowadays with COVID and so many people being ultra aware of our health, it is a great idea just in general to have the medical information either on a necklace, on a wristband, someplace that's easily accessible for the flight attendant.
Oh, absolutely. And whenever I ask this question, most people do not have that a medical ID when they do have some type of medical condition. So, you know, think about that and always be prepared.
Yeah, that is the bottom line. Karen, thank you so much. Enjoy the holiday, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.